So we feel obligated to help family members and stuff. So my teacher says morality and feeling obligated is like a fly fox. So you initially, because of that neediness, feel resentful, right? The resentfulness is what we'll take revenge on. So the exact person we are trying to help will create vengeful action. It's like passive aggression. So he says instead break that habit and create a habit of being responsible. So we can find a shelter for them. We can do something like a safe setup, so that they can move in. And this month, step 4, right? So we can do step 4, which is made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. So the first thing we need to do is, why do we feel obligated to help? For me, it always came from a place is I always felt homeless inside. Okay, so I don't want the same situation for others. So when somebody says, "Can you help?" automatically in my mind I say, I want to say yes.
Yeah, me too.
So that's both of us to be in the same space. That's why this is the reason I'm telling you, don't feel obligated. But if you want to help, take responsibility to help them another way. So that's the reason I'm recording, because we had a patient. This is what I wanted to share on the camera too, because this patient comes in. He's in recovery. Okay, he inherited some money, and this is amazing how people in recovery somehow inherit money, right? Like I don't know why God gives them both, the temptation and the path of recovery. I just wish people in recovery really straighten their act before they get the money, because they blow it off. They somehow. So he started giving his wife money for spending, and then he started he decided to do carpentry. He builds his own headboard for his bed. That was his passion. Okay, he works on it for 3 weeks. I keep asking, "Hey, how is it going?" He says, "You know what? I made one mistake. So it is easier to go get another headboard, and I'm going to throw it out." All the money, tools, everything he spent, he threw it out. Seriously, all this money, just literally falling out the window, right?
Yeah, right.
And then he says he came across his dealer. Okay, this is the best part.
Okay.
And so he says his dealer looks at him, and he's broke, he's homeless. He decided to give him his home. To stay, yes. Because he felt so bad for this kid.
No, but
And the
still.
kid comes in and he makes phone calls again and again and again and makes money. And he started using.
Oh, he did.
So I told him, I said, this is scary.
Yeah.
Not only you're not staying clean,
Right.
you're wasting all your money,
Yeah.
and you're using an emotion that's useless.
Right.
And finally, things are falling apart in his home, because his wife is watching what's going on, and she's mad at him. She doesn't talk to him.
Yeah.
And I said, your whole life is going to blow away.
Exactly.
So he says, I told this guy I'll give him 1 week notice. I said, get him out. I said, this is crazy. He's not like a payday.
Exactly.
Yes, so
it comes back to feeling that obligation.
yes, I think it's because we haven't healed that space where we feel homeless. So we are helping from a space of sickness, so to speak, right? So for me, how it happened, this is happening at your end, right? So this is happening in a family level, I showed you, and this is happening in a patient end. And for me, the sickness got so bad. I had a condo in Birmingham. So this guy, he said he was homeless, he's in recovery. Can I give him subsidized space to stay? I said, okay. He was in Red Roof Inn. He was paying $350 per week. I felt so bad for him. I said, okay, you know what? Give me, I think I charged him 150 per week. I said, that's okay. Come on in. He didn't have to pay first month, last month rent. The minute he moved in, right, he didn't pay security deposit. And the next day after he moved in, he bought a big screen TV, HD TV. So he ran out of his money. What is it called? the SSDA money. Okay,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
blew it off. So
Mhm.
the second month he couldn't pay. It was zero.
Mm.
So the next month he paid me $500. He says he couldn't come up with 600 because he says, "Hey, you should have come in just when I asked you. You were 1 day late. I couldn't hold off my temptation." Okay,
Mhm.
and then the third month afterwards he paid me $200.
Now he's
And then
taking
it
advantage of you.
went on like this. I said in my mind, I'm going to help this as a homeless guy. That's fine.
Mhm.
He stayed with me for 2 years like this. Okay,
You let him?
I let him because I really was torn. I could never put people out because
know.
I knew my mom and dad were thrown out because they didn't have money.
Yeah.
Not exactly money. I think something went wrong, and my mom was thrown in the street,
Mhm.
and my dad overstayed his retirement place or something like that. So I feel there's a big hole in me.
Yeah.
So I really feel I cannot do it to people. And also when we were having fights, me and my husband called the police, and I was homeless one night. That's why I wrote the book, Boring Way to Be Happy with a Dysfunctional Family. It's one of my books.
Oh, yeah.
And this.
Cool.
So when that's why I see that big cover. My eldest son wrote
Mhm.
because I was living in a motel
Oh, I
that
see.
weekend because my husband went on a father-daughter trip on a cruise. He's allowed to go on a cruise. He wouldn't take me. He will take my kids to Orlando, Florida, and he'll hire another person in recovery. I need to make money. I'm not allowed to go.
Mhm.
So he had a lot of rules I had to follow. I was the money maker, but he was the caretaker. So he was allowed vacation and I was not.
Oh, that's not bad.
So, but that's the way we started our life.
Sure.
Now, I have turned it around because this one during meditation was given to me. I was in a very deep pain and I was praying to God. I said, God, please show me a way. I'm not understanding because I couldn't do what he was doing to me. I couldn't put a restraining order on him. I knew better. I know how painful it would be. So I had to think through the consequence as well. He was working at a very different level. He wanted to maintain boundaries, but he doesn't understand consequences. So I had to be ahead with responsibility because he's my family member. I treated him like my child. How can I put him out, right? Even though it was my own husband, my own father, So eventually it got to a place I was like totally broken apart because I went to my local temple. I said, "Hey, I'm pregnant." When he threw me out, I was pregnant that night, and my youngest one. So I asked the priest. I said, "Can I come stay?" They said, "Because of insurance, they cannot let me stay." So then I went to the local church. They said, "Come every Thursday, do rosary with us, and after 8 months, we will consider." So I went to the local AA meeting. She gave me a number, my sponsor. She says, "Honey, call me. I'll come and pick you."
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
And that's when I realized how powerful 12 step is. So I wrote a 12 step
What's 12 step?
because it's Positive
the whole
Anonymous 12 step program.
program.
Because in Alcoholic Anonymous, they say I'm alcoholic.
Right.
In this, it's I am unwholesome behavior. It's all about behaviors that is not respecting another person and trying to run their mind.
Right.
So I decided to do this because it's Positive Anonymous. It's about doing the right thing, power of living.
Right.
So my spiritual sponsor, I asked him, so he became my higher power.
Mm-hmm.
So he gives me rules. That's why I was saying to him, don't ever feel obligated to help. He was telling me. And so one of the things I learned then was to restructure my life.
Mm-hmm.
The I Ching symbol was given to me.
Mm-hmm.
Nature talks to you when you're in pain,
Mm-hmm.
and what it means is resoluteness. It means learn what is legally right, balance it with what is morally fair. So first, don't break the law.
Right.
So my mission became resoluteness.
Mm-hmm.
Goal is to stabilize family.
Mm-hmm.
Value is 12 step. Project is to be a spiritual mirror. Because if I want to reflect God in me, people will reflect that. If I don't act like God, I cannot expect another person.
Right.
So I want to be responsible for them too. So I couldn't put my husband out. I spoke to, they had American Holistic Medical Association. And there was a girl called Eva Ensler. She did the vagina monologue. Have you heard about her? She was abused as a child. And so her father used to sexually molest her,
Mhm.
and he used to beat the wife. And to pacify the father, the mom let the husband molest the child
Wow.
as a sacrifice.
Oh, that's so
So
sad.
I, she said she used to always have image in her mind, her crocodile is going to come save her. She'll have a bag and she'll be ready. And when she became a teenager, she ran away and
Mhm.
she started this vagina monologue where openly talking about sexual abuse, sexual
Mhm.
crime, crime against women. And they have like a big movement for women, like speak up or
Sure.
stand up or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
right. So
So
hear your
in
voice.
Africa, they used to castrize women. That's
Mhm.
one of the abuse they were doing too. So the women had no say in it. So she joined with Oprah. They stopped it. She said the first time when they were trying to do the it's like how they do um, circumcision for
Yeah, the
boys. The circumcision for
circumcision.
girls
Yeah,
was being done
I've
without their
heard.
consent. So she said when she saved the first girl, she says my crocodile came home. So I feel the challenge actually, the book came about because I was in my fellowship in Brigham and Women's then.
Hmm.
When my boss heard what happened, that I was sent to live out outside in the streets that
Hmm.
night, he says it's not acceptable. He says, I don't care how good you think your husband is. To me, you not speaking up is a problem. He says you need to see domestic violence until they certify you as normal. I'm not going to say. I think he did it so he loved me so much. So I went to domestic violence. I said, give me rules. She says only three rules for people with domestic violence. One is that you cannot badmouth your husband. And second thing is you need to be a hero, like becoming a big bird and make such a big noise so that the children know they are being protected. And the third thing is, they said you cannot cry in front of your kids. So I said, okay, I'll put it together because that's all they wanted from DCF. They were saying, if you don't do this, your children would abuse their girlfriend just like your husband does. I said, that's BS because my grandfather used to be very mean to my grandmother.
Is that right?
My mom, their siblings total eight, six girls, two boys, all of them very controlling. So I think I know they because what happens is when you have a perfectionist father, you will become super achievers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened because I feel my husband is a perfectionist foster father for me.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I took him as a child, so I excel in everything I do because I have to meet his expectations. And one night, actually, 2016,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't I show you guys? I thought I showed you. I have shared this with you. My husband, we used to have turtles. I'm not showing you this.
I think you maybe have.
So we had turtles. I'm going to bring this
Yeah,
up in this
yeah.
video. So I had a turtle, two turtles.
Mm-hmm.
My husband, out of anger, because I didn't clean the turtle tank, sent it away. So I asked my kids, I said, it is coming to a point where I have to be a saint to be this man's wife,
Right.
because I'm paying for the house, I'm taking care of the kids, I'm giving him alimony to stay in my home because
Mhm.
2 days he's on, 2 days I did custodially, just like law. I went to law library, I learned everything. This happened in 2002. So from 2002 until 2016,
Mhm.
I have been custodial parent. He has to do nothing. Every other week he can go have vacation.
Must be nice.
And but still he had rules because I make the money, but he makes the rules. Okay.
Okay.
So when he put away the turtles, I asked my kids, I said, and they were not listening to me. They were thinking I'm like a lame person. I'm not speaking up. So they had no respect. I said, kids, I have raised you guys. I said, I'm going to take off. If I'm going to be alone, might as well go become a saint with my teacher. He's my higher power. Because I started Positive Anonymous 12 step in 2006.
Mhm.
So I've been running my program. I'm very successful in what I do. I'm a recovery coach and I know what I'm dealing with. So I told them, if you guys are done with me, you have your dad. All of them are 15, 18, 19. They don't need me. So they said, Mom, please. The youngest one said, Mom, please don't leave. We still need you. I said, okay, in that case, I need to go to India and to become a saint and come back because there's no way I can do normal life. So I wrote, actually, I decided to write it because it is documentation wise, I can prove what happened. So I wrote this 11 to 2016 because I told him, Keith, I need to go to India. I said, I really need a break. So he says to me, wait 8 years until he finishes college before I can leave. Even that, he wouldn't give me permission. Okay.
Wow.
Dr. Doe says I have permission. I can
Yeah,
leave.
right.
But my husband wouldn't give me leave.
Wow.
But then he put away the turtle. So I told him, because you violated, my rule.
Yeah.
So I said, response to turtle being given away. And the reason is I bought this part, this whole setup for the turtle. And he got angry and got it without his permission. So he threw it on the streets and he threw the turtles away. Response to turtle being given away. I can do this spiritually, renounce everything, leave and become a saint. When approach the kids, they all prefer me to stay in their life. Okay. And in that case, I am leaving for India November 30 to December because my teacher wanted us for 3 weeks.
Okay.
Otherwise, I can do this American way. The turtles were not your property to be given away. Giving a word about someone else's property is not honor. Someone received stolen turtles. Okay. If you give me back my turtles, I will keep them in my office. If you want co-custody, you can go there. You can have them for 5 days, like we share with kids. 5 days
sure.
on, 5 days out, like we share with kids. Otherwise, I'm going to go ask for custody of the turtles. Let me know what you prefer. Vasu Brown, Turtle's mom, fifth order Rishi. Because by that time, I even looking like I am already working at a saint level. I don't even need to be ordained. I'm already ordaining myself.
Right.
I'll also send this by certified mail because that was one of the rules the court told me that I have to send it by certified mail because it's like a warning, right?
Yeah.
So he writes back, okay? This is amazing. So he writes back, dearest Vasu, thank you for communicating as best as you can. The turtles have been freed. They are in the wild world now. If you still prefer, if you can have a great time in India, the kids and I will miss you. Okay, he's speaking on behalf of the children, which is not true. Please let me know how you are planning to cover your time with the children, which means he wants payout. November 30th, that weekend, December 1st and 2nd, December, these are the numbers. December, these are the numbers. And he says, payout. So I paid him $420. And my kid said, Mom, I said, if you guys are going to have Christmas vacation, I'll also extend and I'll come back. So for Christmas, they said, can you give us some money? So I paid out $100 each. $720 I had to pay. And then I left for India. And you know what? My teacher made me a saint. And he gave me sainthood. He said, it's actually fifth order Rishi, means you can be in family and still pursue sainthood. And I feel universe is working with me. Whenever anything sabotage my town, if I call for help, everybody will help. My neighbors, I was saying to them, isn't that amazing how, Keith has so much clout, everybody respects him. My neighbor, her name is Megan, she says, Vasu, you don't understand. We do this for you, not for him. And we went for a meeting. We have a drug meeting, okay? What is called Holliston Alcohol and Drug Coalition, HDAC they call it. So we didn't tell we were husband and wife. So he was on one end of the table, I was on another end of the table. They were voting who can be a chairman. Nobody offered. So I said, I can be a chairman. So my husband, nobody knew he was my husband. So my husband looks at me and he says, Vasu, Gina wants to be the chairman. I said, but she didn't speak up. he says she approached him to watch out for her, so he will nominate her. So I said, then everybody spoke up and they said to my husband, why don't you become a chairman? We will vote between you and Basu because she already nominated herself. And he looked at me and he said, like, I withdraw. He says, it's better to withdraw. And they didn't know we were like together.
Right.
So I told myself I achieved what I wanted. Equally on opposite end of the table, and I stood up and I was eligible for chairmanship. Isn't that amazing?
It is.
A white man. I fought a white man, became a white man wife, and did everything. And now I was in the perfect space I needed to be. And I was thinking, I don't need any of the what is called validation saying I achieved what I wanted because I went beyond being normal. And my book, like, I run my positive 12 step. I think this is going to be my legacy. Positive 12 step program is going to be legacy I'll leave behind for the world. And I'm going to teach people what correct behavior is. And they actually, Massachusetts recognized me as a counselor too.
Oh, really?
I got my LADC level 1 license because they recognize my certified addiction specialist, recovery coach training. So I'm both considered a physician who is specialist in addiction, addiction and recovery, and LADC, and a specialist in medical cannabis.
Wow.
Cannabis for recovery, because I also, DPH also gave me permission to prescribe cannabis for recovery. So I have like this perfect match, and I became certified in homeopathic cannabinoid. So I can make cannabis homeopathic, very, very small dilation, and cook with Suboxone to heal people off Suboxone. So I can even do Suboxone paper.
Yeah.
Which is amazing, right?
Yes, very much so.
Very beautiful journey.